what a joy to be back here. I absolutely love this part of our state. And if you look at the region on a map, the 5 counties that comprise the Mohawk Valley, it really looks like a heart. And so when I come to this area, I feel like I'm really in the heart of New York State. And I want to also acknowledge the incredible elected officials that I've had a chance to get to know and walk through their streets with and walk through factories and attend many ribbon cuttings, because I have a particular bias. I'm a former local elected official. I spent 14 years in the trenches as town board member. And it got to the point where every time you went to the grocery store, you had to explain why your snowplow hit a mailbox, and why you miss calling somebody back that afternoon when they just called an hour before, and all these other challenges. So I'm really attuned with the challenges faced by our local officials. So those of you who stepped up and answered that call to service, something I didn't expect to do when I was a student, I'm speaking to you students, never envisioned myself as an elected official. That was always for somebody else. So you never know what opportunities may lie if you're willing to put yourself forward. So to our elected officials, particularly my partners in state government, Senator Griffo and Anthony Brindisi, we spent a lot of time together. We were just opening up some centers to help people who are recovering from drug addiction. We've done a lot together, and I appreciate your stewardship, and certainly our county executive here, who I got to know right from the get-go in my early days campaigning in this area, and made sure I saw and heard about all the important projects of this area. So I appreciate everything you've done. And of course, the mayors, I love mayors, but Mayor Palmieri, thank you. Where are you? Oh, Mayor, over here. Thank you for taking me and really showing me all the true joys of this community. I still remember walking down. We were doing a downtown tour. We went into the Utica coffee roasters, and there's a giant sign that says, "Wake the hell up." And I thought that was great, and so I thought of that this morning when I was getting out of bed. I said, yes, I'm in Utica. I have to wake the hell up. I also want to do a shout out. I was a former county clerk, and so I have special affinity for the challenges and the work that you do, Sandy. It's great to see you here as well. So I could talk about all of you, and I have such an affection for all of you, but also the governor's team. The governor has assembled individuals to be part of his cabinet who are second to none. I mean, he's really gone all across the state to attract the best talent, and those are the ones who really execute the policies that we think of in Albany, and they generate as well, but they're also the eyes and ears of the governor out in this area as well. So you have great people like Brian Stratton, the director of the Canal Corporation. Brian, we've done a lot together, and as we approach, next year is a big year, the 200th anniversary of the Erie Canal. Now, it wasn't done in 1 year, so we're going to keep this party going till 2025. You can count on that. So Brian will be spending a lot of time on the water this summer, on the bike trails that enjoy. Roanne, clearly a rock star in this area. Now, I'm a girl from Buffalo, so I thought the only thing you can do with chicken is make chicken wings. She introduced me to this whole concept of chicken riggies, okay? So I found that that's a local delicacy here, and also tomato pie and all the other things. We got to know each other. But thank you for your service in so many capacities, and it's been a joy to work with you. Roberta Reardon, our Secretary of Labor, who's done an incredible job touring the state, talking about workforce development and issues with myself as well. And Roanne, we have Roseanne, our Secretary of State walked in. Oh gosh, it's so great to see you. Rosanna, she's done an incredible job, and she'll be part of an announcement I'm going to make in a little bit. So Sam Roberts is here, our Commissioner of Office of Temporary Disability. Richard Ball, where is Richard? Richard here? He's coming, I'm sure he's coming. He's here. So I probably missed a few of you, and also the governor's team, the governor's staff that puts this together. These are truly people that just put their heart and soul into everything they do. I have my Deputy Chief of Staff here as well, Melissa Wachensky, who covers this state up and down with me, and she does an incredible job. John Majori and Kelly Cummings and Mark Streb, the boots on the ground all over the state, and the regional reps, and locally here we have Dolores and Peggy Rodriguez and all the representatives. So just, I'm a former staffer, and so I wanted to make sure that we truly appreciate the people who work very hard to make us look good every day. Thank you. Now, those of you who follow my schedule know that I travel a little bit. I've been to all 62 counties at least twice, working on my third round in less than 2 years. But last night was a first. Now, I started my morning out in Buffalo and found my way to Utica by way of Ithaca and Binghamton, so you might think my GPS is a little off, but I had other events to do there. And I got here last night, and I'm reading materials in my room around midnight, thinking about what I wanted to say today. And I'm flipping through, I'm hearing all this noise in the hallway. I'm hearing the noise. I stay in this hotel, and I'm hearing people sound like they're partying. And I'm thinking, gee, that must be the governor's team just walking around with pitchers of beer and having a good time and celebrating. But no, they wouldn't do that. No, not the governor's staff. They work so hard. So I'm flipping through this really nice booklet here. Y'all seen this? Okay. Put together by the state of New York, so I know it's got to be true. So it says, Hotel Utica, haunted overnight options. Okay. There is a haunted history trail in the state of New York. Now, this historic property, built in 1912, has been home to many prominent guests, some of which never left. Sounds of parties. I'm hearing parties. Wave through empty ballrooms, and a dapper man in a tuxedo randomly appears. So, needless to say, I didn't sleep at all last night because I did not want to run into the dude in the tuxedo. That really flipped me out. So that is a first. You can put that in my journey, my journal of travels across the state of New York. But obviously, you've got a lot of history here. The history of this region is spectacular, going back to the early Iroquois tribes and the Mohawks that were first had found their homes here, but also the wave of immigrants that came to this region and really, benefited from the Erie Canal and the New York Central Railroad that came through here. So this was really a stopping point where people went from Albany to Syracuse and to Western New York and points beyond. So this really became an epicenter for activity. And in fact, it really became world-renowned for its textile manufacture and lumber and furniture and good paying jobs where people could support a family. And for a variety of reasons, and I'm from Buffalo, there's all sorts of reasons, whether it's globalization, whether it's automation, the manufacturing jobs, the bread and butter jobs where you could raise your family, left. They disappeared. And on the other end of the state, we've been spending a long time trying to figure out plan B. What do you do when those manufacturers leave? And I feel that same sense occurred here as Simon Brindisi spoke about. The downtowns were not a place you congregate. They were ghost towns. Well, I shouldn't say that. Okay. I don't want to tempt anybody. I don't want to stir anything up here. They were vacant. And so we had this flight to the suburbs. People did not value the charm and the character of their downtowns, buildings that had been built with such pride. Look what we have here. This building was built in 1912. People put their human sweat and toil into making beauty and buildings that last forever. We had that here, but people didn't seem to appreciate it anymore. They went outward. And there was this sense of cynicism, as you mentioned, and a sense of decline, and a sense that the best days were behind us in upstate New York, and particularly the Mohawk Valley, which was really hard hit. And so, fast forward to the election of our governor, Governor Andrew Cuomo, who actually saw this state as a 20-some-year-old young man traveling when his father was governor. And he was able to see back in the 80s, which was really the depths of our depression in upstate, when we really were hit hard, and unemployment was soaring, and the jobs in the factories just up and left. He saw this, and it always bothered him that no one seemed to want to take ownership of this. No one seemed to care enough. Because what happens is, and our state legislators can speak to this, there's a tremendous amount of power where the population lies in a state like New York, because they're the ones who are able to send more elected officials to our state capital based on population. We happen to have a very large, significant city in our state, New York City. And so a lot of policies and decisions made with respect to economic development and where infrastructure dollars were spent were made in Albany by people in New York City, so the money flowed south, and they didn't find us upstate or to the west. And we suffered from that. And our governor said, I'm going to fix that. I am going to laser focus on upstate New York like never before. And that is the genesis behind the Regional Economic Development Councils. And Larry Gilbert, I'm so happy you're here because you have been such a key player in this area, being top winner 3 times as recently as last week. $80 million just this last week alone is going to flow to this area. I'm going off the top of my head because I was doing my math rather late at night, but over the last few years, it's about 444 projects to the tune of $443 million. That's direct assistance, does not even include the billions that are leveraged with that money. So there is money coming here, but what is just money? It's just a check. But what is so fascinating about what we've done in turning around the whole mechanism for economic development in our state is that we have empowered the local communities, the stakeholders, the thought leaders, the elected officials, not-for-profits, business, labor unions, to all be on the same team and working together to come up with their vision for this area. Don't leave it to us in Albany. You don't want to do that. You want to be the stewards of your own destiny. And that's what the governor has allowed to happen, and that's why this has been so successful. And I'm very proud that when we come together today, we're really taking it to a new level. I mean, the governor doesn't want to just continue what we've been doing. He's always about upping the game, and that's what I love about it. We're always trying to improve. And so to have a conversation, bringing all of you together, and again with the students who will be in charge of our future before long, we want you to know that we also put a high value on smart growth and sustainable practices. And so we're assembling all of you to be part of the dialogue to determine the next phase of the Mohawk Valley future. And so that is what's on your task with that today, to listen to experts that we've convened, participate in the roundtables, but also feel empowered, which is what the governor wants you to feel, empowered to have a say in what goes on in your own communities. And we'll continue to be successful. And I have been so fortunate to be able to go to downtowns like Amsterdam and walk across that Mohawk Gateway pedestrian bridge, which is a long name. I think we should just call it the bridge. But to be there with the mayor and walk down to little downtown Amsterdam's coming back, to walk through the streets of Gloversville and see the magnificent library they have there, and to tour downtowns in Oneonta and see the power of a world-class educational institution there. Go to SUNY Cobleskill and see how they're innovating the latest practices in agriculture, getting a higher yield from each seed that's planted. Cooperstown, how can you not love Cooperstown? I spent a week there as the mother of a very good baseball player at one time. He did not make it to the majors, but we had a great time there, and I cherish going back there. And seeing, Rome, I was just there recently touring Rome Labs. And to know that the future of unmanned aerial systems for the planet, not just our country, is going on in this corridor between Rome and Syracuse, that is a game changer, ladies and gentlemen. So those of you young people who are deciding what careers you want to go into, can I say the word STEM enough? STEM, STEM, STEM. You need to get into those areas because there are jobs going, 350,000 STEM jobs unfilled in the state of New York alone. Okay? I need young people to step up, particularly young women, to step up and realize you can have an incredible, incredible future in those areas. And so, I could talk about your areas forever. I love it here. And also, up to the Adirondacks, I always cut through and see the view, incredible view, and the incredible art gallery up there when I'm up in Old Forge and tour the downtown there. So this area has so many unique assets, and sometimes it takes someone like an individual who was not born and raised here to walk in and say, you do not know what you're sitting on here, people in the Mohawk Valley. Whether it's the beautiful lakes, the rivers, the canal, the mountains, you have it all here. And you have charming downtowns that people would just kill for in other parts of our country. When you travel to a place like Arizona, I mean, it is strip mall after strip mall after strip mall. There's no charming downtown that young people are going to want to move to, or the incubators are going to want to be at. And my test of a vibrant downtown, and somehow the people at FX Matt Brewery knew this a long time ago. If you have a downtown brewery, people want to be there. Is that right? Is that right? Nick, is that right? Okay. And so this is what we're doing. We're trying to open the eyes of individuals to say, yes, we've got something incredibly special here. The governor has believed in us. We should now believe in ourselves. And this is where you write the next chapters. And we hope this conference will inspire you to do that. And I'm also very proud to announce today, in addition to the conversations going on here, that the governor wanted me to announce that we have $2 million in planning grants that will be made available through the Brownfield Opportunity Area. This is really important. $2 million made available all across the state. The applications are due in March, so get busy if that's what you do, because we really do believe that, as we try to reimagine a future, we still are often left with legacies of the past. The abandoned factories and the polluted waterways. And when I'm in downtown Buffalo, last week I was literally ice skating on a site that was condemned as a polluted brownfield for most of my life. And you look at the waterfront, how we brought that back in Buffalo, and there's now hotels and attractions there. That is going on a smaller scale all across the state, but you need the help from the state with this kind of money, which we're announcing today, and the Secretary of State is going to be overseeing this. Her department is working on this, so I wanted to leave you with that. Not a gift, because you have to work for it, but let you know that there's money on the table to help you further those objectives as well. So I want to thank all of you for caring about your community enough, loving your community enough to come out here today and say, yes, I want to be part of writing the future of the Mohawk Valley. So thank you very much.